your CRM is lying to you. Over 20% of the contacts in your HubSpot or Salesforce, they're not even correct. They have changed jobs. Those people do not even work at the same company anymore. And your data is completely inaccurate. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to make sure that the job changes are auto-updated using Clay completely on autopilot so that your CRM data never gets stale again.
If you use a CRM and you have a lot of leads, one of the very common problems that you face in that is that those contacts, the data becomes stale as those contacts change jobs, as those leads change jobs. And that's the problem that we're going to solve in this video. So if you look at the flow chart over here, right? So this is the problem that we're addressing. The contacts in SFDC get stale as they change jobs. We're going to take Salesforce as an example. You can also do it on HubSpot or any CRM that's for now connected to Clay. Right, and our data is now inaccurate since they no longer work at the same company, right? So what are we basically going to do? So we're basically going to first create a list or a report in SFDC. So basically whatever contacts you want to make sure that they are updated, you can just create a list of those contacts. You can do that in SFDC, right? So once you do that, what we're going to do is we're going to import that data into Clay. So I'm going to show you how do you exactly do that. So if you open a new table, you'll find a lot of options to bring out new data, right? It's HubSpot and this and that. The moment you search for Salesforce in the create a new table, you'll find two options: import records from a Salesforce list or a Salesforce report. Either of this is fine, right? Both of them essentially get you the data. So you're going to do this. And once you do this, you'll have this data, right? So for example, as you can see, this is the data that you have. And this data usually will contain some basic info. So you can use this email information in order to look up contacts. So what you're going to do is you're going to do lookup record, and then you're going to do lookup record, and then you'll be basically using email as an identifier and get a lot of information about the contact, right? Contact ID, first name, last name, account ID, all of that. Now, what we want to basically do is we want to monitor this list for job changes. Are these people changing jobs? So we're going to for now use Claygent or anything to find LinkedIn. You can, if you already have LinkedIn in your CRM, that's great. But we need the LinkedIn profile because that's where the tracking is going to happen. So you'll find LinkedIn profile, whatever way you can do. You can use an AI agent. You can have existing data. You'll eventually find the LinkedIn profile of the person. And then you're going to click on this and you have this option called monitor for job changes. You'll have to choose the frequency. How frequently do you want to monitor? The cost really depends upon that, right? It's something around, I'm not very sure, but it's something around a credit for 15 rows or something like that, right? Once you do that, you get a new table, right? Once you do that, you get a new table and you'll be able to basically see all the job changes that is happening, right? There are two things that are very important when you're building this, and that is there is this place called reduced confidence reasons, right? You have to make sure to create that as a new column, because sometimes what happens is your existing data itself in Salesforce is wrong. That can happen, right? Essentially what I'm trying to say is if this reduced confidence reason has some statement, you would better ignore that. You would better not continue doing any job change because that data is inaccurate. So you have to check two things. Number one, if there is a job change and you want to make sure that it's a job change, you will actually create a column of previous role end date, right? Let me just show what this does. This basically goes to the previous experience and checks the end date. If the end date is empty, it means that the previous job has not ended. The person might have started a new experience, but the previous job is not ended. And that's when we will probably consider this not as a job change, right? So only if there is a previous end date, that's when we consider this as a job change. So I'll create that as a different column. And then also create a column which is directly from Clay where reduced confidence reasons, right? And if there is any of the statement which is decreasing the confidence, I'll consider that data as inaccurate. And therefore I'll create a final filter where I'll say if the previous role is not empty, which means the role did end and there is no reason for a reduced confidence, then consider that the job to end, right? That's when I'll consider the job is ended. And then what I'm going to basically do is I'm going to find their new email. I'm going to find their new company, and then I'll use this Salesforce enrichment of create lead. And I'm going to map all of those new accounts, right? All of the new data into Salesforce again. And this is an automated system, right? Where automatically whatever new data that comes into your Salesforce, it automatically gets added to the list. The list automatically comes to Salesforce. All of this happens automatically. So therefore, you don't have to worry ever about your Salesforce data being inaccurate or being outdated. This is pretty much the system. This is what this does. And yep, this entire template is there in the description. You can just go out and check that out. You can copy that in your own Clay workspace, or you can contact me if you want to do that for you. You can just do that, set this up for you, because it's very important that your CRM data, you pay thousands of dollars for the CRM, right? It's very important that your CRM data is accurate and it's not outdated. And this is exactly what that system does.